wasn't ready. The implication being that America was not ready yet for a black president.
I remember that. I remember when he was asked that. Yes.
And do you remember what he said, Tucker? He said, you know what? If I don't win, no. It's because I failed to deliver on a vision and a promise that Americans could believe in. It was an incredibly courageous response that I believe won him the election, because he believed in America, and he basically said to Americans that day, even if I don't win, I still believe in America. It's not because of the color of my skin. Michelle Obama did the exact opposite. She looked at America in a 25-minute video and she said to Americans, if you don't vote the way that I tell you to vote, it's because you're backwards, it's because you're wrong, it's because this country is inherently wrong and racist. I can think of no greater way to completely destroy everything that Barack Obama accomplished in 2008, and it's actually quite sad.
I couldn't agree with you more. I hadn't thought of that. I think it's a really smart point. I wonder why they're doing it. So Biden's way ahead in the polls. I'm just being honest, he is. He's more ahead than Hillary was in 2016. So on some level you think, well, they probably don't need to do this. Why is she clearly means it or she wouldn't do it. Why do you think she's doing it?
You know, I really have always thought that the Obamas, unfortunately, don't have much control over their own life and their own narrative. You know, they took a lot of money to get into the White House, owe a lot of people favors, and I really view them as DNC operatives at this point. And it's sad to see, because they really could have used this moment to bring the country together.
Yes.
And I think Barack Obama definitely tried that in his COVID-19 messaging. But Michelle Obama has gone an entirely different route, and quite frankly, she's really bad at acting. This was theatrical,
exactly,
worthy, and it was uncomfortable to watch.
It's like her DNC speech.
I completely agree. This, of all moments, is a moment where you would like someone to say, let's just put down our differences, here are the things that we have in common, let's focus on them. And what a shame that they're not doing this. She has a lot of authority, actually.
It's not surprising.
Not with me, but with most people. She's very popular.
Did you read her college thesis?
You know, I actually think this was really her basket of deplorables moment, and I think this is going to have the exact opposite desired effect. You can't just keep telling Americans that they're backwards and that they're wrong. These are the Americans, Michelle, if you're watching tonight. These are the Americans that voted your husband into office twice. America is not a racist country. Do we have pockets of racism? Sure. But that is not the interpretation of our country as a whole.
That's right.
She's always been angry.
Every time you're on, you say something I hadn't thought of that I appreciate. So thank you. We'll be back tomorrow.
There she is, Candace Owens.
Sworn enemy of lying, pomposity, smugness, and groupthink. VP debate tomorrow. Sean Hannity now.
All right, thanks, Tucker, and welcome to Hannity. We begin a Fox News alert tonight. This is massive breaking news. The president just tweeted this out, quote, I have now fully authorized the total declassification of any and all documents pertaining to the single greatest political crime in American history. In other words, the Russia hoax, and likewise the Hillary Clinton email scandal. No redactions. This is a big deal, and by the way, should lead to troves of declassified material. Again, without the redactions, we'll have a lot more of this coming up. You'll see
Watch out.
All of this was.
Tom Hanks is going to get a lot of neighbors in Greece.
The conscience of our nation. But first, there's only 28 days. It is 4 weeks from today, and you will be the ultimate jury. Nobody, as far as I'm concerned, can tell you or predict exactly what's going to happen. Projections at this point are frankly useless. Same with the polls. There's only one poll that matters, Election Day's poll. And on Tuesday, November the 3rd, only you, the American people, you are the ultimate jury. You will decide whether or not Donald Trump gets a second term or the cognitively challenged, weak, frail Joe Biden takes over. God help us. But until then, we do know one thing for certain, per usual. We do know that the media mob will not be vetting the Democratic candidate or his running mate. We know state-run propaganda newspapers, state-run broadcast channels like ABC, NBC, CBS, state-run fake news cable networks. They're all in for the weak, frail, and cognitively struggling Joe Biden because they refuse to do their jobs. There are dozens upon dozens of critical questions. We're just 28 days out.
They're going to give him a pass.
Joe Biden flat out refuses to answer, and frankly, there are more questions that the media and their flacks refuse to even ask. The press will never hold Joe Biden accountable. They will never hold his feet to the fire. They will never demand accountability. Why? Because they're all in. Team Biden. The press, an extension of his press office. And for the next 28 days, they will do anything and everything in their power. They will carry the very weak, the very frail, the very corrupt candidate, if they can, over the finish line if you allow that to happen. For example, during a recent Biden town hall, NBC, well, they featured a so-called undecided voters who actually came out against Donald Trump in a previous appearance on MSDNC. Yeah, that would be called a lie and a charade and fake news. So tonight,
Actors. They got actors.
we will highlight the questions that apparently nobody in the media is willing to even ask. We will vet Joe Biden. We will do their job as we always do. We'll investigate his corruption, his lies, his record of failure, because right now Joe, well, he seems to think that he's accountable to nobody. For example, yesterday during a rare occasion in Miami when a reporter actually tried to ask one single unscripted question, Biden called that reporter obnoxious and flat out refused to answer a question about COVID-19. But are you really surprised? His minders in the Democratic Party, they never want him to go off script because when he does, well, disaster usually ensues. Now, over the course of the campaign, we've all witnessed Joe become increasingly overwhelmed, increasingly agitated and irritable when he is faced with unexpected questions. And we've got the videotape.
He wants to take everybody behind the gym.
As Warner Wolf would say.
Radical left. Will you shut up, man? Specifically, have you taken a cognitive
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not. What do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say?
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you
He told him that because he was black.
For me or Trump, and you ain't black.
He's a racist.
I got you votes. I got votes for that bill. I convinced people to vote for it. So let's get those things straight, too. You ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said I set up my son to work in an oil company.
Gotta look at the Urban Dictionary for that one.
You want to check my shape on? Let's do push-ups together, big man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take the next
Come on, man.
I could-
You a junkie? Want to have a push-up contest?
Yeah, I could do more push-ups.
A lying, dog-faced
Wow.
pony soldier asking an African-American reporter, "What are you? Come on, man. Are you a junkie? You got a cocaine test? Come on, man." This how a healthy, stable, intelligent person responds to questions? No. Has the media highlighted this? No. And in one puzzling moment, only yesterday, Joe had some really creepy, weird things to say about
Yeah, this is a new one.
his event. Take a look.
What's this all about?
The good news is, for me, I'm here. The bad news for you is, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I want to see these beautiful young ladies. I want to see them dancing when they're 4 years older, too.
I bet you do.
It's great to see you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, COVID is at least preventing him from sniffing their hair, which is...
How old were they, 5?
And when Biden isn't being creepy or getting agitated or calling people junkies or hiding in his basement or screaming, "Come on, man," or not remembering the Declaration, well, he's trying his best to execute an age-old Democratic strategy. We see it every 2 years. We see it every 4 years.
He's like a dumpster fire.
Divide Americans with a never-ending stream of identity politics. Republicans are racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic. They want dirty air, water. They want grandma and grandpa to eat dog food till Donald Trump look-alike throws them over the cliff in their wheelchair. But recently, during one sloppy attempt to pander to minorities, Biden was the one who sounded, well, in the words of Michelle Obama from yesterday, racist. Take a look.
The American public, the blinders have been taken off. They've all of a sudden seen a hell of a lot clearer. They see, geez, the reason I was able to stay sequestered in my home is because some black woman was able to stack the grocery shelf. Or I got
Why she gotta be black?
out there, these dreamers are out there, 60,000 of them, acting as first responders and nurses and docs.
Why they gotta be Mexican?
All of a sudden people are realizing, my Lord, these people have done so much, not just black, white, across.
Why you gotta use the Lord's name in
Which
vain?
brings us to an important set of unanswered questions. When will the mob and the media, when are you ever going to hold them accountable for
Keep
his
giving
troubled
them a
history
pass.
on the issue of race in America? For example, all my friends in the mob, does
He's
Joe
a pedo. He should be in
author
jail.
a crime bill that led to the mass mass incarceration of minorities? Does he regret calling minorities in inner cities predators on our streets? Does Joe regret praising the former Ku Klux Klansman Robert Byrd, his friend and his mentor? Does he regret eulogizing Byrd at his funeral? Does he regret any of that? Does Joe regret fighting against racial
That old KKK mother effer.
and efforting with segregationists?
Joe Biden's friends with him.
Again, forming an alliance and partnership with the former Klansmen to stop
Hillary
the
and
immigration
Bill,
schools?
too.
Will any of you in the mob ever ask him why he regretted and worried that his kids would grow up in a, quote, racial jungle if there was integration in school? Does Joe still stand by the statement, quote, you ain't black if you vote for Donald Trump? And what did Joe Biden mean when he said that the Latino community is diverse, unlike the African American community? Why did Biden say you can't go to a 7-Eleven or Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent?
Exactly.
What did he mean when he called Obama the first mainstream, African American who's articulate, bright, and clean, and a nice-looking guy? Wow,
You
that's
got
a
it.
storybook, man. Why did Joe
'Cause he
Biden
thinks
lie
they're all
about
drug
the
addicts.
NAACP? Why did he lie about attending Delaware State, a historically black college?
He's a
Why did he lie
pedo
about
racist.
marching in the civil rights movement? And despite all of those serious questions, former First Lady Michelle Obama
Here's this
wants
piece
all
of
you
work.
to believe that Donald Trump's a racist. And by the way, also wants you to know that the ongoing nationwide riots that we've been witnessing with our own eyes has been overwhelmingly peaceful. No, they haven't been. Take a look.
They're stoking fears about black and brown
Angry
Americans,
black
lies
woman.
about how minorities will destroy the suburbs, whipping up violence and intimidation, and they're pinning it all on what's been an overwhelmingly peaceful movement for racial solidarity. It's true. Research backs it up. Only a tiny fraction of demonstrations have had any violence at all.
Bull.
So what the president is doing is once again patently false. It's morally wrong. And yes, it is racist.
You're the racist.
Okay, don't believe your lying eyes.
Even
Michelle
since
Obama,
college.
This was going on all summer long. We saw what happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We saw Portland. We saw Seattle. We saw New York. We saw there were at least what?
This is the norm.
$100 million in insurance damage nationwide. Thousands of police officers injured.
This is our future. If Joe Biden is elected,
bricks and Molotov cocktails, where many were shot, others were stabbed,
coming
many
to a
killed,
neighborhood
and
near
many
you.
others left with catastrophic, life-altering injuries. Would any honest, rational person refer to this as an overwhelming, peaceful protest? We'll let you decide.
Yeah, that's pretty peaceful. It looks peaceful. Yeah, real peaceful. Freaking police getting injured, killed. Yeah, it looks real peaceful. Get real, America. This is coming to a neighborhood near you if Joe Biden is elected. They want to bring this to your whole country, all over.
Yeah, maybe Michelle Obama's right. Maybe that was mostly peaceful. Depends how you define peaceful, right? Now, in order to be a Democrat in 2020, a member of the media mob, you have to accept that arson, looting, violence as peaceful acts of resistance? Is that the America you want? In 28 days, it's all on the ballot. Are you willing to condone those riots because Michelle Obama says it's mostly peaceful? Are you willing to vote for a Biden-Harris ticket that applauds, defunding the police, plans to eliminate bail for
Never.
anarchists and other violent criminals? Do you honestly trust Joe Biden to keep this country safe from threats, foreign and domestic? Because make no mistake, in 28 days, safety, security, law and order, it's all on the ballot. And by the way, while Michelle was the first lady and Barack was the president, and that guy, the empty suit Joe Biden, was vice president, 4,000 homicides happened in Chicago alone and 20,000 people were shot and they barely mentioned it. Guess what? They have around-the-clock security. What about you and your family? Joining us now with a reaction, Salem Radio National
Unbelievable.
Larry Elder and civil rights attorney Leo Terrell. Larry, we start with you. I'm just having a hard time when people just lie to me. Because what I see, what my eyes show me, was a lot of violence, a lot of injured cops, a lot of dead people, and a lot of people with life-altering injuries, and a lot of vandalism and destruction, Larry.
Well, that's the same thing that I saw. And I tell you what, Sean, Michelle Obama
I'm going to cut this short.
She said, research shows that these are mostly peaceful protesters. I'm happy they're interested in research. Research also shows that the whole narrative, the whole reason that people are out in the streets, the narrative that the police are killing blacks just because they're blacks, is bogus. There's a black